Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Triple TC, that is the time-travelling toy collector, and today we are looking at another in the range of Transformers Age of the Primes figures. This time it is Fireflight. He's another Aerialbot. Thrillingly, I've also just had the last Aerialbot delivered as well, so now I've got every component part for both Devastator and Superion. So that'll hopefully be coming imminently, and then we'll do a separate standalone video for each of the two combiners in their full-on combiner modes. But Fireflight is looking very strong in his robot mode here inside the box. Let's take a quick look at the packaging. Haven't even had a chance to get him out yet. So Age of the Primes Fireflight, he's a deluxe class figure. We've got some very lovely artwork here on the side, and the plane retains very much its G1 essence, which is interesting because I do know that these are retools. Here we go, there's a view of Superion in his full-on robot mode, and there's the Age of the Primes monument, and then round on the back we have the obligatory product shots, 17 steps to transform. We shall see how well that works. And yeah, so you know, he is a bit of a heavy retool, not that heavy actually, a baby retool, and significantly a repaint of one of his fellow Aerialbots, but it kind of works. At least literally on paper, it kind of works. But I wonder what he's like in hand. Let's find out. Don't touch that dial. And here we have Fireflight out of the packaging, and he comes pretty much as is. We just have to straighten out his feet and fold around the wings. And aside from that, he is good to go. And he is very, very good to go. So first of all, let's take a look at that lovely head sculpt. Let's zoom in a bit closer for that head sculpt. It's a really nice head sculpt. And of course, I've spoken about these figures previously in the other Aerialbots videos. It's a real interesting thing for me because these almost feel like they're Studio Series, not so much Studio Series 86, but the TV version of Studio Series 86, because they are very, very good at capturing that combination of G1 toy accuracy, with those little square heads, but also cartoon accuracy in terms of the colour scheme, the overall colour scheme, and design and shape. Yes, he's got a backpack on, but again, I'll give you one of my usual sort of positions. Let's just pop that out of the way for now. My usual positions with this, which tends to be, you know, we are looking at a modern representation of arguably a G1 figure. So this is not a Combiner Wars or a Unite Wars redo. This is the sort of the history of the Legacy collection, as it were. This is where we are really revisiting those G1 designs, and almost doing the best we can. I say we, I mean Hasbro, to replicate those designs, but using modern engineering. And I think they do really well. Yes, we do get some serious gapping there in the legs, which is a shame. He's got some amazing heels. This guy is not falling over, no matter what you do. He is not falling over. The articulation is everything you would expect in a deluxe figure. We've got some nice up and down wibbly wobbly head action, very dynamic. We've got waist swivel, pay attention Constructicons. We've got waist swivel there. I know they're not transforming in the same way. It's a joke, it's cool. He's got those moulded in silver fists. Again, these arms, as we know from the last time we saw them, they're not the best arms, but in the right light and in the right poses, they might well just do what they need to do. You know, they're not gonna ruin anything too horrendously. If you hold him just right, he almost looks a bit like he's a conehead in disguise. But that's just with this backpack thing, which of course is very G1. He has the backpack, you know, and it's what the Aerialbots look like. You know, I think this is not, you know, just another one of those conversations about G1ism, but I think if we're going to want G1 aesthetics, then we have to take what that looks like, and that looks like backpacks and square heads and various other bits and pieces. I still maintain, I mean, this is a very solid figure, nothing's wibbling wobbling, he's got good hold of those guns. I still maintain this is a strong figure. The articulation is arguably better than some of the because we have that waist swivel, so we can get a nice sort of dynamic, we can get some sort of nice dynamic posing here as he's, you know, taking on some Decepticons from sneaking up beside him. So, you know, he can do all sorts of things that maybe the Constructicons can't, but they've got other issues to resolve within their own ranks in terms of holding themselves together. I suspect our Aerialbots, much like perhaps the Constructicons coming later, have a bit more articulate freedom because of the skeletal nature of the combination. Now, obviously, I've already got Silverbolt. I've already done a video on Silverbolt. I haven't used his thruster pack battle station bunker thing to do any of the combination yet, because I'm going to wait till I've looked at all of the individual bots first. So we've got that to come. But my guess is going to be that because these have the nifty use of a skeletal structure to combine into and onto, they've got more freedom in their articulation, whereas the Constructicons have to actually transform into the torso, into the various elements of Devastator. They don't have the luxury of clipping onto a predetermined frame that comes as a separate entity. So there's some give and take there. But yeah, I really love this robot mode. I love the color scheme. As I say, it's very, very aligned to the G1 cartoon and comic appearance. It's equally aligned to the toy. But of course, it's so much more than the G1 toy, because if you remember the G1 toys, there certainly wasn't this level of articulation, posability, etc. But again, it just keys into my memories, because I remember that, and I don't know whether it was, well, it keys into my poor memories, because this just looks like the head bit that would fold forwards to plug into Silverbolt's shoulder so that he becomes the arm, or it gets thrust up so it becomes the leg. I can't remember which way around. I think he's an arm. But that's just what that reminds me of, that bit that felt folded forward, and then you stuck the head in, and the head articulation was actually, oh no, it wasn't even that, was it? The head wedged into the port on Silverbolt, and that was how you articulated the arm. So, you know, all in all, what we're getting in this Age of the Primes range, I think is top notch for what we're asking for. And yeah, I can forgive some of the hollowness there in the legs. Would it be nice if they could cover it up? Yes, it would, but we've established that they can't, and it's just, we just have to either get on with it or don't buy it, you know. And I would much rather have it, because if I'm honest, I was thinking about this the other day as I'm sorting out my display areas. How am I going to display the Aerialbots? Because I kind of like them. But I think I'm going to have to go with a Superion display, aren't I? Because it saves space, for one thing. They can all be then combined into a single bot, and it saves real estate on my shelves. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. So this has been the robot mode. I'm going to go and now transform him into his jet mode. Whilst I'm doing that, if you haven't yet, and you would be so kind enough to, I would be so appreciative if you could drop a like to the video. Similarly, if you're one of those people who are watching this and haven't yet subscribed to the channel, well, first of all, welcome to the channel. And secondly, please do consider dropping a subscription. It's completely free. Just means you won't miss any future episodes, because you'll get a chance to see what's coming up. And obviously, it's completely your discretion if you choose to watch it or not, because you can see what it's about. If it's something that appeals to you, like maybe Transformers, great. If it's something that appeals to you less, like Doctor Who or Star Trek or Star Wars or something like that, then you can choose not to. Although, if you're into those kind of things and similar, you might be interested. So, you know, stick around, have a look around, see what you think of what else is here. And do please consider giving me that subscription, because A, it's completely free to you, and B, it helps me get to my next subscriber milestone, which is what I've said to myself to help me, just to keep me motivated and keep me going. Because sometimes it can be a bit, sitting here doing these, talking to yourself, because I am literally talking to myself. It would be great just to know that there is occasionally someone else out there that hears it. So that would be very sweet of you if you could. Anyway, I'm going to appreciate you being here regardless. I'm going to pop off, do the transformation, and then come back with my updates, thoughts, and a final look at Fireflight in his alt mode. So as Junkions would say, don't touch that dial. And here we have Fireflight all transformed into his alt mode. And I've got to say, a couple of things immediately jump out at me. Firstly, transformation, dead easy, no issues, nothing too stiff. Everything fits together beautifully. And he actually feels like a really substantial jet plane. He cleans up now this is interesting, because I think we've seen this in the Aerialbots for this range. You got, and because it's a redo of, I think it's Slingshot, we're going to see this, and the same with the next one being a redo of Air Raid. The underside here on this jet mode clears up brilliantly. It just works. You've got some stuff going on under there, but you wouldn't necessarily go, oh, robot mode. It tidies up really, really nicely, and I think it looks amazing. And I think it's just such a shame we don't get that automatically with the other one. But it's just the way it is. Looks terrific. The paint on this looks terrific. We've got that wonderful silver cockpit there. We've got some lovely, not overdone surface detailing. We've got the undercarriage there that pops out of what is the back of his head, but integrates really nicely. We've got the under the wing guns. We've got Autobot symbols. I will point out, I didn't mention this when we were looking at his robot mode. Very noticeable to me, though, poor old Fireflight has no Autobot insignia in his robot mode. That is a nuisance. I'm not a fan. We've got I do like the detailing there on the wings. Very nice. The guns, of course, fit under the wings. There are ports there for that. There's no additional undercarriage. Oh, yeah. Well, there's faux undercarriage here, which I just noticed. Nearly didn't. Faux undercarriage there, which form part of the, actually, the front, the back, his legs. Then we've got the tail fin here, again, with some more detailing. We've got the silver, plus also the same colour scheme with the blue and the gold and the red on the tail fin. All in all, looks fantastic. And of course, we can already see where the connection points will see him separate when he forms the arm of Superion. But beautiful, and it's not an insubstantial figure considering it's deluxe class. I think he looks really good. I think I'm looking forward to having all of the Aerialbots together, both in robot mode and then in plane mode, and then of course combining them into Superion, which I will do as a separate standalone video within probably the Aerialbots playlist. But I think he looks tremendous. And again, really does capture that G1 vibe. And to be honest, my favourite as a G1, my favourite was definitely Air Raid, because I just like the sleek blackness of him. But these other ones in this variation of the line, this Age of the Primes line, I really, really love what they're doing. Because it does fit. It just, I know it's a modern interpretation. I get all of that, but it really does feel like that G1 jet mode. But you're getting it without the compromise of the robot mode, and I think that is I think the biggest takeaway in the Age of the Primes, much like the Legacy line, is that not in every case, but in the majority of cases, we are being able to see that the G1 elements of these vehicles, where we are dealing with a G1 original character, they carry forward very well the incorporation of the modern engineering and the modern sensibilities, whilst retaining the G1 aesthetic. And I know I say this a lot, but it's so true, and I think it's so important. That's where they strike gold, because they give us the alt modes we remember. They give us the robot modes we wish we'd had, but still remember, because they are, broadly speaking, as they were, but they now can actually be articulated. They can do more than their robot mode originals, because whilst, yes, the two things do coexist, the engineering nowadays allows us to have the figures of our imagination that can then convert into the vehicles. The vehicles aren't necessarily overly favoured at the expense of the robot mode. I think they strike a really good balance between the two things, which of course is what we want them to do, because it's 21st century. But I think sometimes we get a bit lost with the power of our imagination, certainly speaking personally. And that sometimes gives me a personal sense of, oh, well, I wish it looked like this, or that doesn't do this. And then I have to catch myself and say, yeah, but the one it's based on, the original one, didn't do that either. It couldn't do that. It only ever did it in my imagination. And the fact that I've now got a fully posable Aerialbot that can still transform into a into a jet that looks like this, and can still combine brilliantly through a very clever mechanism that allows me to have the articulation in the figure that I never had in my G1. I need to not lose sight of that. It's very easy to start berating them for, oh, it still doesn't do this, it still doesn't do that. Well, it does do a lot more than it used to do. So I'm going to take the positives from that and enjoy those positives. And I do think it's a lot better than what they tried to do in Combiner Wars. But as I'm not someone who has any Combiner Wars stuff, I can't really speak to it. But just from what I've seen of other people, when I was thinking about, do I want to get some Combiner Wars combiners, I was kind of persuaded not by a lot of what people were saying online. So here we are with the G1 adjacent version of the Aerialbot. Superion is going to be along real soon. Fireflight here in his alt mode. We've seen him in his robot mode. What do you think? Do you think they've nailed it? Do you think they're doing really well with the Aerialbots? Are you excited to see them take this through the Combaticons? And are you keen on having Defensor next? I think it makes sense if we're going to get Bruticus to round the whole lot off. But do you have any wider ambitions? Do you want to see the Seacons? Do you want to see the Terracons? Do you want to see the Technobots? Who do you want to see? Who do you want to see in the Combiner lineup in the future? Because once we've got these two out of the way, it would be interesting to know what your thoughts are. Let me know down below. Once again, thank you for being my companion as I've had a little look at Fireflight today. I've been the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You've been, as I say, wonderful. I very much hope to see you in a future video, or of course, a past video. And this has been Fireflight, produced as part of the Age of the Primes line, combining with his other colleagues to become Superion in the near future. And it just remains for me to say that the thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.